Wish that builds courage, creates hope, inspires change. Rubus Pure Joy Wish Fuel Thinking has arrived. Win weekly cash prizes, and 6 people will win $5,000 in cash as a Pure Joy Wish. Every time you fuel up with $25 or more at any Rubus service station, it's a win. Win for you and these 5 great charities. Feed Our Future Cayman, Alex Panton Foundation, Humane Society, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and the Cayman Islands Cancer Society. Rubus Pure Joy Wish Fuel Thinking ends December 20th. Terms and conditions apply. Rubus, fuel the difference.
My bills seem huge again, and I don't know what to do about it.
We can help. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure has teamed up with CUC to give you the chance to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000. Not only will this lower your utility bills, it will increase your home's value. We are also giving away 8 home energy audits worth up to $1,900 each, open to all homeowners in Grand Cayman. Entry is open now via www.energy.gov.ky/competition. Use less, save more. Proudly sponsored by CUC, Dart, Saxon, CEL Cooling, Foam Pros, Cooling Pros, and Mitsubishi.
Burger King Sawyer, the perfect burger is ready.
Very well. Tell me.
It's a quarter pounder with melted cheese and mayo. You see, the simplicity is what makes...
Add another patty.
Another? But Sawyer, that will make it a half pounder.
Add bacon.
Bacon?
Crispy onions.
Burger King has gone wild and brought back the Steakhouse King. 2 quarter-pound flame grilled beef patties, thick-cut bacon, A1 thick and hearty sauce, crispy onions, melted cheese, and mayo. Only $7.50 or $10.35 for the combo, and only at Burger King for a limited time.
Digital banking, online, RBC. RBC Banking Online. Pay your bills anytime.
RBC Digital Banking is so easy. Even Granny and Granddad can do it. Sign up for online banking or download the RBC Caribbean app.
With RBC, it's safe and easy. Send your money hassle-free. RBC.
Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/bank at home. RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Star 927, its affiliates, or sponsors. Live from the 927 studios in the center of Cayman's capital, Georgetown, this is Straight Talk. Let's get to the point.
And good afternoon and welcome to Straight Talk. This is Catherine Tyson and you are tuned in to our Drive at 5. Today is Thursday's Success 101, and you know what we talk about today. We talk about a Caymanian that has made some great strides, and they're going to share their story today. Generally, we've been talking to a lot of young Caymanians just so you know everybody can be inspired, and those of you driving along that you can hear the stories and you can be inspired for yourself, but also you can be inspired for your children, and that you're pushing them to definitely be the best that they can be and supporting them on their quest for success. It looks different for everybody, and that's fine. But yeah, definitely we can do it. We're out here, we're doing stuff, we're making strides, and very excited today. I will be speaking to Ronald Forbes, who is our Caymanian, our own Caymanian Olympian, and just excited to hear his story, just how that came about and just what he's doing now and all that stuff. So before I start the show, I definitely want to invite you to give us a call at 943-3700 if you'd like to say hello to Ronald, and or some well wishes or whatever it is that you want to add to the show. We'd love to hear from you. So before I go on and speak with Ronald this afternoon, I do want to just share this. Confidence. The key to consistent confidence is not what you'd like to be, what you'd like to do, what you'd like to have, and the attitude that it is all possible for you leads to a state of consistent confidence. Your thoughts will begin to match your actions, and the return on your investment of effort will surpass anything you could imagine. The first step to gain this attitude is to feel deserving. Know in your gut that you have the right to know what you'd like to know. Allow this knowledge to be revealed to you. The knowledge may come through books, people, or experiences. Practice recognizing it and be ready when opportunities appear. You have the power to be confident. And confidence is the first step with success for sure. Walk in the room like you know what you're doing. Walk in the room like the room's been entered and know that you have a space in there. And Thomas Edison said, genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. And with that, I will definitely welcome my guest for this afternoon, Thursday Success 101, Mr. Ronald Forbes. Good afternoon, Ronald. How are you doing?
I'm great. How you doing? And good evening to all the listeners out there, and a special good evening to Selector Renegade. I have a lot of respect for you. Believe me when I do. When I say that, sorry.
Okay. Now, how are you doing? I'm sorry, we had a little glitch there. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Good evening to everyone, and a special good evening to Selector Renegade. I've had much respect for you over the years, and yeah, it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be a great show, and I want to thank you so much for coming on this afternoon. You're actually not here in Cayman. Where are you?
I'm in Miami currently.
You're in Miami. Oh my. Okay, so you're in the midst of all of this excitement. I'll call it what we want. I'm gonna use the word excitement today. You're in the midst of all that excitement, and not in Cayman. Where things are a little calmer. I'd say.
Trust me when I tell you this, that if it was ever one time I wish I was home, it would be now. I think the local term to put this would be what a mess. It can be exciting at times and then crazy at times, but this is one of the times I wish I was home too.
Yeah.
More or less not be in a state of anxiety too much. So
yeah. And so so how long have you been there? Have you been there this whole time, or how long have you been there?
yep, I've been there since I train in Miami, so I've been in Miami for several years, and especially during COVID, I've been in Miami for that entire time. So
Oh, okay. All right. So we will talk with you about what you're up to and all that stuff. But let me just give a little bit of background. And I'm looking at Wikipedia. I hope it's correct, right? So tell me when we're off base. But so far, Ronald Joseph Forbes. He is a track athlete from the Cayman Islands. He's All-American 110-meter hurdler and 60-meter hurdler who competed collegiately for Florida International University from 2005 to 2008, and went on to pursue a professional track and field career competing in the 2008, 2012, and 2016 Summer Olympics. Forbes has competed in the 2011 and 2015 Athletes World Championships. Indoors, Forbes has qualified and competed 2010 and 2012 World Indoor Athletics Championships, and competed in 2006, 2010, 2014, 2018 Commonwealth Games. And during the opening ceremony, you were the flag bearer during the ceremony for the Cayman Islands. All right. So, yeah. So obviously you are an athlete, and you're a hurdler. That's what you do, right?
yes, it would be.
Okay.
Yep.
So
I sprint. I sprint and jump over things, and
yeah,
to make it very simple.
All right. Okay. So when did this love of that come about, and when did you know you were good?
That's a great way to put it. I've told this story for several times, and each time I keep adding in a bit and taking out a bit. Just depends on how much time we have. But to kind of crunch it down, it really started around, I would say, like the 8th grade or so. Of course, everyone in Cayman, or generally everyone in Cayman, runs, sports days. So running is a part of what we do. Naturally, we are humans and we run, or at least we walk fast, in a sense. So the love of track and field kind of came about just wanting to see something else, wanting to travel, wanting to explore what the rest of the world was like, and not just through the lens of a TV. And I decided to use whatever little athletic gifts that I had, and was training for the national, I think it was under 18 cricket team at the time. Then I started doing track and field on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Eventually, cricket didn't work out for me, or fortunately, cricket didn't work out for me, and I just started to dive in more to the craft of what I was doing, which was discus and shot put. To be honest, I didn't start out being a hurdler.
Okay.
And it it continued on from there. It wasn't, say, a snowball effect, but every single time that I got better at what I was doing, it fueled the drive for me to continuously get better. And that led up until definitely all through high school, which was where I started to get into hurdles more. At that time, we only had one hurdler on the island. That was, I would say, the more dominant one. And when I came along, then we had two and a few others. But going into high school, I started to realize that this wasn't just about, the extracurricular activity of athletics. This was a ways and means for me to have a future by simply using my legs to do it. And I decided that I wanted to go to school, meaning university, and I didn't know how. So I continued to work very hard at and try to perfect my craft the best way I knew how. Eventually, that led into a scholarship to Bacone College, Oklahoma, in Oklahoma. And I spent a year there. After a year there, I miraculously and very divinely got a full scholarship to Florida International University. Went on then to pursue a collegiate career for those 3 years that you just mentioned, from 05 until 08, and then in 08 to more address your question. In 2008, between the months of January and March, my life completely changed from there. I didn't know I was any good, and I use air quotes on that. I just knew that if I could get better every race, at some point I was going to get to the term what we call success. And yeah, I continued on there until around February, March of that year. That was where I made my breakthrough after about 10 years of pursuing it, which was which was an indoor race in New York.
Okay. So 10 years is when you kind of knew maybe I'm all right. Maybe I'm good at this thing.
Yeah. As I said, leading up to that point, you didn't perform.
Just working.
You're just working. You're technically what you call in the mix, but not really part of the flavor. And eventually, one race changed all of that. I ended up being at that point, which was like, I think February 8th, 2008. I went from literally being no one, and all of a sudden I'm the fastest in the United States collegiately. By the end of that season, I ended up being number 15 in the world. And, you're completely blown away by it. You're not top one, but just the fact that you're world ranked and you're that high up, it speaks volumes. So
yeah, of course. And it's and you're from this tiny little rock. Like we're not even like a dot. It's on some maps that we can't even be seeing. So absolutely, that's first place to me, right? And I think very interesting because, like you said, you were running, you were competing for a long time, and I know sometimes because I had that experience with even my daughter, who said like she was amazing and came on, and then she was like, I don't know. She went to New York and it was a different ball game. So I think at that point you realize like, okay, now it's real. I actually have people who are giving me a run for my money, and I gotta show up, right? And so it's almost like you have to push yourself even more because you have this dream, and this thing could work out for you and help you live your dream. Yeah.
For sure. As I said, anyone who starts out with anything, and you use the word when you were introducing the show, the term called success. They have a term called, they have a word called success, and then they also have a word called succeed. They have two different definitions. Success is any desired or favorable outcome. Succeed meaning is the next step towards success. So no matter where you start, there's an old saying, you don't have to be good to start, but you do have to start to be good. You have to have that intrinsic desire to always find the next step, find what you haven't perfected as yet, and go towards that.
Right.
And many times you don't start out winning. Believe me, you don't. It takes many years to get to the point where you feel that, okay, I'm running with, and I use that, no pun intended, you're running with people that are classed the best in the business. So it does take a very long while for some people not so much, to get to that point, as I said, of I use air quotes, success. So
Right, right, definitely. So, what would you say? This young man from the Cayman Islands who saw this talent, I guess, that he had, or this interest and this talent that he had, being able to translate to something that would allow him to achieve his dreams or succeed. So go to college. So it's an engine that you can use. What would you say then when you became a part of this larger company, because then you're a part of a larger company, aren't you? You're a part of a sports team and everything else. So what would you say are some of the things that actually you learned, just being this young kid from the Cayman Islands, this small little place? What did you learn in that bigger environment and the expectations?
you learn, first of all, that the world is bigger than where you grew up. Some of us get in a mindset, sometimes we only think of our immediate environment, and
Right.
we have to understand that the world is a much bigger place. There's no, not no disrespect to, as I said, where you're from, no matter if you're from Cayman or not, but the world is, we're all in this together, in a sense. You learn, second, that you're a very small fish in a big pond, for sure.
Right.
You could go from the fastest person in Cayman to a person that is last place on a team in an entire country very fast. And that reality can be very heavy once you start to digest it. And you start to realize, okay, I've gotten that fast, but in order to survive, I have to get better. I have to get faster. I have to get stronger. So you then have the option: do I work harder, or do I give in and just kind of throttle my way through whatever you're going through? So you definitely learn that when you get out there, it is you're competing against everyone, not just people at sports day or on island. You're competing against everyone. Some people you don't know, have never seen, probably would never see again. But the number one goal is to continuously get better. And say that's one thing you discover real quick when you come overseas.
Right. Well, I always say that, just even, I just teach like just, soft skills to adults and just getting them back into the working world. And I always say, listen, who you're competing with is not just your neighbor, the guy that you grew up with. You're competing with people who came all the way from the Philippines, 36 hours away. They've left everything that they love in that country to come over here to work. So when you're getting there at 9 o'clock and work start at 9, they're there at 8:30. Or 8:45, right? And so and I just give this perspective of that leaving your family that far away, if you're coming from India, Canada, wherever, you're so far to come someplace to work. You're not coming here to play, you're coming here to work. And so we have to be as good or better in our country in order for us to be able to compete. And I just think that's sensible. It just makes sense. It's about work ethic, and it's about putting 150% in, right? Every day, all day. And so, like you said, you're now competing not at sports day, you're competing with people that are coming from all over the world and coming from different types of discipline and different types of training, and they're coming to win. So when you show up, it's not, oh, that's the guy from Cayman. No, that guy needed to come with the same attitude, the same drive to push, right? And I think that's what I love about when I talk to Caymanians, especially younger Caymanians who are able to really talk to the younger generation about leaving Cayman or being able to compete on a world stage, how much it does take for you to know, like, Cayman is so small. And sometimes when you talk to young people, it's almost like this ignorant arrogance a little bit, like, and you've seen nothing. You have no idea what's out there. But when you get out there in the real world, it's like you wake up quick. You
Very
wake up
fast.
quick. Nobody's babying you anymore, and
Nope. Mom's not there to hold your hand. You grow up real quick.
Yeah, and you got to pull your weight, right? Especially if you're on a team, because you're complimenting the team, aren't you?
For sure. You're completely right on that. We compete nowadays in a global society where it's at one point we were, pretty much isolated to ourselves, meaning from local perspective, and now it's to the point where you just don't have resumes or you just don't have competition would be the fitting word. Locally, you have competition from all over, so it is in your best interest to continuously pursue what you have not perfected. You will not know everything, but you have, and no matter what industry you're in, you have to continuously push yourself to be better, to strive towards a goal that say you have not attained as yet. So,
Right.
yeah, when you get out there, you do some real growing up really fast, especially when you know that no one's out here to hold your hand, no one's here to pat you in the back, no one's here to, some days you got to be your own inspiration and your own um, uh, hype man. You have to be all of that at some point. So yeah,
Right. Now, and this thing that you love, this sport has taken you all over the world. It's
yeah,
taken you all
sure.
over the place. Tell us where this has taken you.
I've been, if it comes to physical locations, geographically, it has taken me to six of the seven continents. I think the other day I counted it was like 32 countries, almost
Well, tell us
170
about some of those
cities.
countries. Tell us about some of those so we can see them. We can live through your eyes. We can live through your experience. Where have you been? Some of
If I,
them.
okay,
Tell us
if I
about
list them
them.
out real fast, Jamaica,
Okay.
Cuba, definitely America, South America, Colombia, uh, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Bahamas, uh, England, India, Isle of Man, Australia, China, uh, Korea, South Korea, um, Canada, uh, Mexico.
What is
I,
what is what are some of the experiences like? Where's your favorite? I don't want to get you in any trouble because I'm sure you got a lot of favorites. And yeah, but where are some of your favorites and why? Why are they your favorites?
that has always been a really tough question. I don't think I have a favorite place that I've been to, but I can say where one of
Okay.
some of my most memorable moments have been, and that would be obviously China. Going back to where we started this conversation was that was one of the moments that you realize that all of those years of grinding it out and not being, to where you want to be, and all of a sudden, boom, in a matter of 6 months, you're now walking through the Olympic ceremony, opening ceremony, and you're now carrying your nation's flag. And all of a sudden, you're like, okay, not to say you've made it, but obviously you're not where you started. So that held a very special moment for me, not just for myself, but for my family and my community, district, and everybody else. So that would be kind of how I would
Of
answer that
course.
question. But I do have many different favorite places for different reasons.
Yeah, well, that's great. And also recognizing that when you go to these places, people know you. You're a part of something, and you're there to do
Yeah.
something. So that's also a kind of nice little fanfare thing sometimes. To be able to get there, and there are people rooting for you, and then there are thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, just rooting for other people. So just being a part of that, the energy of that must be something else, huh?
For sure. When you're in those stadiums, I mean, this is an eye-opening moment. When in some of those stadiums that I've been in, or blessed to be been in, um, you look around and they, at some point they announce, the amount of fans that are in the crowd, and sometimes you can hear 70,000, sometimes you can hit 80,000, and you start to think, inside this whole stadium is more than what I have in my country, and you're
Right.
like, okay, so
Yeah. That
yeah,
puts it in
so
perspective for you.
yes, it makes you realize literally how small Cayman is, let's say landmass wise, but
Yeah.
you know, um,
Yeah.
but just like anyone, you have your part to play in in society just as well as everybody else.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we're very, very proud of you. I'm proud. I'm honored to just be having this conversation with you. And I don't think we met in person, but we've met here today. And of course, I know you. I see your picture all over the place, and we're very, very, very proud. So I feel like you are an example for us of you are our Usain Bolt then, right? You know, for the Cayman Islands, and you're in a stadium like a Beyonce. Then you have all the, you know, the Jay-Z, the concert. You got all the people there. I love it. I absolutely love it, and I think like it's such an inspiration for any young person hearing that. Any person at any age, you have a dream, go for it, put the work in, you know, just like Thomas Edison, the quote, I love that. 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. I know you must have perspired for a long time over these years.
Believe me.
Yeah.
I've always thanked people for being proud of me, and for whatever I've done out there, whether it's been to people's expectations or not. I can always say that I've done my best and put my best foot forward, pun intended. And at the end of the day, I only wish at the end of this track and field journey that I've been on for the past 20 years of my life to help inspire the younger Caymanians coming up, because I'm a firm believer in this, and I'll die on this point at some point. I'm at least willing to. That Cayman has an immense amount of talent, not just track and field wise, but we have talent in arts, we have talent in music, we have talent in sports, we have talent on the subject of academics, we have talent in law, we have talent everywhere. And
Right.
I don't think at any point in time that we should find ourselves believing that we're not up to someone else's standard. We have, as I said, we have many different people there. So my area of expertise being athletics, how I pay it forward is to not only set the example, but walk in my example, to come on, interviews and to answer questions and definitely display the best me I can possibly be for the next one coming up. Because at some point, this will stop for me and I will go on to do something else. But then we have to ask ourselves the question, who's next?
Who's next? Who's coming after you?
Who comes after me and,
Yeah.
and surpasses where I've gone? That's the whole
Absolutely.
name of the game, is to
Yeah.
be better than what I was. A lot of people's like, we want to be you. I was like, don't try that.
No,
Like,
no.
don't be me. Be the best version of you
Right.
you can be. You could
Absolutely.
surpass definitely where I've gone. Stop, ask me questions, figure out what I know that you possibly don't, and I can help you with. I'm glad to answer your questions. And
Yeah.
just said, be
Yeah.
better than I was,
Yeah.
and moving on from there.
Yeah, and I always say that too to the young people. I mean, you can only be the best you can be. Don't try to be somebody else.
Ah,
You know, try to make your mark on it, and ask people how they got there. Ask, get that advice, get those mentors in place, and just know that you can do it. And I think like, that's absolutely, the best thing that we can do for our young people, because we can't hold on to it forever. I mean, like you said, 20 years. So 20 years ago, look at the age that you are versus the teenager. Look at the time that's gone on, right? And
yeah,
and so who's coming behind you, and how to ensure that we're preparing our young people to kind of take up the mantles, and passing the baton on. And I think that was one of the reasons why we decided to do Thursday Success 101, and to talk with the Caymanians that are succeeding, that are doing great things here, abroad, everywhere, just to keep that inspiration going, to say, listen, we got them. We are those people. We can do it. Like, we don't want to just be the people watching and saying, oh, look at how this person is doing. He's from here, he's from there. No. We have it here.
yeah,
So all you got to do sometimes is just ask questions, get people to help you, the people that are in your corner. Find those people, teachers, people at your church, your neighbors, whatever it is, but to just know that you can do it. You
for
can
sure.
be the next person, do it.
Yeah. We not only have not only can we do it, we've been doing it and
We are
have done
doing
it.
it. We're
So
doing
yeah,
it.
we have been doing it and we have done it. So
Yep.
I continuously push that message out there to, especially to every one of our younger ones. Tell you how old I felt the other night. There was this there's the sportsman award that I donate to John Gray High School every year at graduation, and this year just happened to be one of my younger cousins that I think I met him once. So he's 16, 17 years old, and I'm like, man, I probably left Cayman when you were born, at least to go to school, and it makes
Right.
you think, like, time moves on, and other ones come up, and they're looking and they're seeing it, and they're observing and absorbing everything around them, and to please no. Oh, we just got cut off there a bit.
It's okay. Keep going.
Yeah. To continually push them towards their path of success. Everyone's going to have a different path. And as I said, everyone that aspires to be the next person, that's not advice that I give. I said be the best you. Learn from them. There's a saying that a smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from other people's mistakes.
Right. Isn't that something? I love that, right? I was just telling a class that today, that somebody falls into a puddle. You don't have to fall into the same puddle. Just see that was a puddle. Let me walk around this way.
For sure.
Everybody wants to experience it themselves. Why? You can see it. Don't do it. Like that.
Sure.
That's just being wise, right? It's just being smart for sure. It's so funny because my daughter was Miss Cayman Islands 2018, Miss Cayman Islands Universe 2018, and during that year, thank you. During that year, everybody was. I'd go with her places. They'd be like, "Are you Miss Cayman's mother?" Right? The part of me that was like, I have a name, right? And it was amazing to just kind of do that shift and be Caitlin Tyson's mom. Like, that's okay, that's fine, because that's it. That's what we need to do. We need to foster that and usher you all in, right? And so that's where you are right now, doing the ushering in for the young people that are watching you and seeing you make great strides, literally and figuratively, and knowing that they can also do it. So you're going to stay with us?
Yeah,
right. We'll continue to chat. Thank you all so much for staying tuned. We're going to come back with more from Ronald Forbes, our Caymanian Olympian, who's just done amazing things. We're going to keep talking. Please give us a call, 943-3700. If you'd like to ask a question, just say hello, whatever it is. Today is Thursday, Success 101. This is Straight Talk. We'll be right back with more.
Join the conversation. The phone lines are now open. 943-3700. More Straight Talk to come on Star 927.
Did you know that Cayman National Bank is the only bank represented across all 3 of our islands? That's right, Cayman. We're your bank, and we're here for you. Visit any of our available customer service centers for your everyday banking needs, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Fridays, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Your banking experience matters to us, and we're here to serve you.
Imagine you had one wish, a wish that builds courage, creates hope, inspires change. Rubus Pure Joy Wish Fuel Thinking has arrived. Win weekly cash prizes, and 6 people will win $5,000 in cash as a Pure Joy Wish. Every time you fuel up with $25 or more at any Rubus service station, it's a win. Win for you and these 5 great charities: Feed Our Future Cayman, Alex Panton Foundation, Humane Society, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and the Cayman Islands Cancer Society. Rubus Pure Joy Wish Fuel Thinking ends December 20th. Terms and conditions apply. Rubus, fuel the difference.
My bills seem huge again, and I don't know what to do about it.
We can help. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure has teamed up with CUC to give you the chance to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000. Not only will this lower your utility bills, it will increase your home's value. We are also giving away 8 home energy audits worth up to $1,900 each, open to all homeowners in Grand Cayman. Entry is open now via www.energy.gov.ky/competition. Use less, save more. Proudly sponsored by CUC, DART, Saxon, CEL Cooling, Foam Pros, Cooling Pros, and Mitsubishi.
Kathy and Johnny were preparing for a party when suddenly something came up from the potty. This sink was clogged. They couldn't blame that on the dog. So Johnny took out his tools to look like a hero, but Kathy knew better. She gave him a 0. She knew what to do in the interest of time. Plus, we need to hurry. I'm running out of rhyme. To get rid of this mess, she reached out to the best and called Watler and Hislop to handle the rest. If you want to put them to the test, Augercast Pilings, Deep Well Drilling, and Heavy Equipment Services would be your best bet.
Call Watler and Hislop Services, Cayman's #1 choice, 949-4880, or visit equipmentservices.ky.
Welcome back to Straight Talk on Star 927.
And welcome back to Straight Talk. This is Catherine Tyson, and this is your Drive at 5. This is Thursday, Success 101, and we are chatting with Ronald Forbes, a Caymanian Olympian, who is just out there just doing great things, man. And we've been having a great conversation. If you just tuned in, 943-3700, would love to hear from you. So, Ronald, we're back on. I was trying to tell you how long the break was, but you know, so let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you've done. So I'm looking here, I'm still on Wikipedia. You got a Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive, right? So let's see, 2004, the Carifta Games. You got a bronze medal. Yeah. You probably forgot all this stuff now, so I'm just reminding you. And then you also got a silver, and at the Junior Carifta Games or CAC Junior Championships, and then is it NatWest Island Games 2015 Jersey? You got that gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2015. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And you've been to the Olympics 3 times?
Yeah. 2008, 12, and 16.
Okay. All right. And so what are you working on now? What are you doing now? Like you tell us what you're doing now.
Well, immediately just surviving COVID like everybody else.
Okay.
Yeah. Working towards not working towards, but definitely setting things up for the retirement side of things. As I said, I've been in the sport now 21 years to be exact, where I actually started training for it, not just running it. Running it would be a little bit longer than that, but 21 years. As I said, based on my statement before, it comes to an end. Your legs only work that good for so long, and eventually you move on to something else. And hopefully you take those same disciplines and same level of drive onto a different path of life. So that's what I'm currently doing, like immediately. Always, always busy doing something. But to answer that question, that's basically what I'm doing.
Yeah. So you're not actually running and competing right now. Then you're just being a normal person.
No, I'm still training for off and on, and for right now, things are still in a state of no one kind of knows what is the next major step. We're trying to, when I say we, the athletics world is trying to put its feet back on the ground to establish the schedule that people know how to set out training, know how to let's just say the next 6 months is going to look like. Who knows if we're going to experience another shutdown or global shutdown again. So everyone right now is just, playing it week by week in a sense.
Yeah. So it's kind of a halt in a way, just kind of, waiting. And so it's a little waiting game too.
Yeah, it's a little waiting game, but at the same time, you have to more or less stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Getting ready is where the work comes in. So in the meantime, as I said, that's currently what I'm doing. And setting things up for the next step outside of the competition aspect of the sport.
Okay, so if COVID hadn't occurred, what would be happening this year with you?
What will be happening this year is definitely a retirement. Like, I was trying to make a last push for the 2020 Tokyo Games, and then after that, there was no amount of convincing by my coach or anyone else that Ron, you should continue running. That was it. So,
but has that been put off then?
Yeah, that was put off until next year summer. So
so your eyes still on that then?
For the time being, sometimes I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but that's been weighing heavily on me. Whether just call it that, just call it what it is, and just move on.
Because your mind was like, it's done, 2020, I'm done.
Yeah, it's to say, as you get older, you tend to lose the things that inspire you to continue moving forward, especially in that sport or in this sport. So, that is definitely a question that's been weighing heavily on my mind constantly since, I would say, definitely 2017. So, but when that time comes and that opportunity presents itself to move on to the next step, I don't think I would have any regrets about moving on. I've definitely, wished I'd obviously attained a little bit more in this sport for whatever I did in this sport. As I say, I feel proud of myself for doing it, and hopefully that example inspires the next one to come up. And when I leave out of the sport, especially the competitive aspect of it, there's no there's no looking back to say, oh, I regret that.
Right.
It's all been worth it.
Well, you should be proud of yourself. You've put everything. You put everything into it, you know. And
Everything.
if anybody wants to look at your Wikipedia page, they can just check it out, and you can see, you know, from 2000 all the way, you know, to current, right? And from 2000 to 2018, that's 18 years, and all I'm seeing is fifth and seventh and fifth and fifth and sixth and fifth and
Yeah.
third and second and first. And come on, you don't have anything to be thinking about. You know, you put everything into this, you put your heart and soul into this, and you have taken the Cayman Islands all over the place, and they were able to have their flags in Colombia and Australia and Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and Turkey and all the places you forgot to mention, Mexico. I'm looking here now, Costa Rica and Jersey and Beijing and Brazil and Australia again and Trinidad and Guernsey and El Salvador and Bahamas and Guatemala and Barbados. And come on. Okay. So let me tell you, you should be so proud of yourself, and we are so proud of you, and we thank you. We thank you for definitely representing us in such a stellar way.
Thank you.
So
Appreciate
you have earned and deserved your break, if that's your retirement. And you know, I would just ask you to give some to the little kids around here, so they can, you know, they can touch some of that, and the talent that they have, that they're able to put that to work as well. But the belief and the confidence that they can, you know,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
you did it. Yeah, absolutely.
During that whole journey, I continuously, like every summer, I made it a priority, not just because I was obligated to do it, but because I felt that it was just part of just being decent.
Right.
Going to schools and you know, not just sharing my story, but telling them like, look, man, I was definitely not the most talented kid out there. Trust me when I tell you, I got the brakes beat off of me some days, but I continuously just kept believing that I could be better. And every time I got better, it kept fueling the fire for me to get just that much more better at what I was doing. And eventually it led to, you know, 3 Olympics being competing in. And I say everyone's going to have a different path. And that's something that everyone has to be conscious of constantly, that, you know, their path is going to be special to them and no one else. So,
Yeah. What would you say some of the rewards were? Some of the things that came with all of that list that I just went down, all of that stuff that's written in history for you. What were some of the things that came with that you would not have gotten had you not been in that place and at that time in your life?
number one thing is not just the development of a better athlete, but development of a better person. I can 100% say that because of the sport of track and field, it has opened my eyes to how the world works. You know, not just where I'm from, but, you know, every place that I've visited and places in between that. It has allowed me to understand that I have a role to play in society, just as important as anybody else. That because of the sport, I tend to think of myself as a walking example for people that have never been in my shoes before and want to be where I've been and so on and so forth. And as I said, that's the number one thing. It developed me into being a better person. Many things I've learned out there that I've gained from the sport. I've gained what I consider a great life. One thing on top of that is a great name for myself, not just because of, you know, the fanfare or whatever you want to call it. It's just that, you know, you have a great name out there for yourself that, you know, when they say your name, we know what, you know, we know who he is, we know what he's about, and so on and so forth. So I've gained a wife off of it. I've gained many different things off of it. We could go on and on. It's not material things, but more so the experience of knowing where you were and where you are now. It's been like night and day. So the development of a person more so than that.
Well, absolutely. And then that's that whole intrinsic thing. And when you started out, like you did say that you started at 14 and in hopes that it would give you the opportunity for travel and a scholarship. And you did get those things, right? You got the support, and you were able to finish your university?
Yes. Started in 04, graduated in 2008, and as I said, that dream started very young. But
Wow.
fortunately, I was wise enough to see that it wasn't just an extracurricular sport where we just kind of compete just for the sake of competing. This
Okay.
is a means and ways, or more importantly, a vehicle to get you to something else.
Right.
Had track and field not worked out, I would have still had my degree and my university education, and I could definitely take that on to pursue something else in life. But
Right.
you have both. You have not only your athletic experience, but you have your degree also. So
Yeah, you have your university experience, you have your education. And what was your degree in?
it was liberal.
Is your degree in?
It was liberal studies and the liberal arts program.
Okay. So that's a bachelor's in liberal studies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's great. And I always believe in that, to have that under your belt, nobody can take that from you. So,
Yeah.
and it's something that will translate to something. Now, you also, so then you were actually an athlete so you were paid to be an athlete then all this time.
Yeah, from 2008
Very
until
nice.
about like 2 years ago, I got off of that particular contract.
Okay.
How it kind of works in a nutshell is that when you use the word professional, you are there to compete at a high level. And I want to really drive this word home to the athletes at home, no matter what sport you do, is you're there to produce a high level of result consistently. That's
Right.
what you're technically paid for. And one of the great benefits of a program we have locally is called the Elite Athlete Funding. The government supplies, or the government comes to the aid of many athletes, especially in this sport where sponsorship can be definitely hard to come by. They financially support a certain aspect of what you're doing, but you have to continuously produce those results. And
Right.
for a very long time, I was able to do that. And I can say, I was very blessed to have that
Yeah.
particular funding in my corner. Otherwise than that, it would be, it would have been much harder. So
Yeah, of course. And that was from the government, not private.
yeah, you do have your private sponsors as well, but
Okay.
the government was, the main one.
Good.
You have different other private sponsorship, banks, power companies, water companies, apparel companies when it comes to clothing and shoes to a certain degree. So they all kind of compile up in a sense to become one, but the government was the main one that I've
Main
had.
one. So they were kind of like endorsement deals too. You would consider that type of thing, like endorsements, like you endorsing people's products and stuff like that. You had those types of opportunities.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes those opportunities find you. Sometimes you go looking for it, and
Right.
along the way, you do have an agent, you do have a coach, you do have people in your circle and in your square that they then can attract that towards you, and you simply just use your your name, if we could put it that way, to
Of
help
course.
endorse the product the best way you can.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you're putting all the work in. So absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
You do use your name, you use your notoriety, right? Because
Yep.
you are that person. So that sounded like, I mean, like 10 years of just being paid to do what you love. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it's amazing it's amazing on one side, and then the next side, it came with a lot of nightmares.
Yeah.
Believe me, it came with a lot of
Yeah.
sleepless nights, a lot of nights of anxiety. You think,
Yeah.
what we're going through right now is anxiety. But it's all a part of it. Anything you're gonna do, you're gonna face those tough times where you're gonna sit down and you're gonna have restless nights. You're gonna
Yeah.
have, tiresome days where you're just like, man, can I make it to the next step? Can I make
Right.
it to the next month? You're gonna have
Right.
those days,
I
but you
gotcha.
have to continuously tell yourself that what I'm doing is worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
if, for instance, you just mentioned your daughter. She would tell you at some point, the miss that particular pageant is nerve wracking. I've sat
Yeah.
there and I was in the judges panel on the next side,
Yeah.
and if you see the level of anxiety in some of those beautiful young women that walk into that room, you're like,
Oh,
man,
trust me.
it
Oh,
is a lot of work. But
yeah, it was.
you
I know.
have to believe that, first of all, like you said, you're worthy of that.
Right.
That particular sacrifice and that particular goal that you have, and you have to continuously work towards it.
Were
There's
you
no
one
other
of the
way.
judges for 2018?
I think it was 20.
I don't think you were one of the. I'm wondering.
It was
Don't
20.
you remember which winner you helped choose?
I'm not gonna dive into that.
Hello. Come on, it wasn't that long ago. I remember your name now, but I'm not sure if it was at that particular one. Maybe it was,
I think it was 2018. I think it was 2018. I can't be.
Do you remember any of the girls, Ronald? Really?
I remember a lot of them. I remember a lot of them.
Do you remember one name? If you remember one name, what was one name? Come on. I think you're one of the judges for my daughter's competition.
Oh God, what did I get myself into?
That is hilarious. Because now I'm like thinking, I believe I remember hearing your name as one of the judges. Of course, you stayed very far away from the judges.
Yeah,
that is very funny. But yeah, it is a lot of work, and I mean, and then having to do the Miss Universe thing with the 93 girls from other countries, like you're absolutely right. Like it looks easy being you guys, but it's not easy. It's a lot of work, a lot of sleepless nights, lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that particular subject of, especially with you, as I said, congratulations on, and you should be very proud of that. Is the support system behind that? Because people like to use this term. Oh, I got there on my own. No, you didn't. No one did that.
She doesn't say that. She says her army of one.
Yeah, like that mom needs to be the coach, the physician, the
shoulder,
the psychologist, the shoulder to cry on, the transportation. You need to be all of that.
Good cop, bad cop. Get your head in the game. Okay, all right.
So
all right.
that support system, that support system drives not only athletes but anyone towards that path of succeeding to ultimately become successful. So
absolutely,
yeah.
And I'm sure you feel the same way about your system, that and like you mentioned, you got a wife, out of it, but it's like, that person just being so close to you and having to support you also and support what you do.
Oh yeah. They could be very positive support at times where, they tell you what you want to hear. And then sometimes they could be that one to be like, look, listen, you need to tighten up,
Right.
They could be that. And you have to respect that. You need, a balance of both. Sometimes we need to guide each other. No one knows the particular way all the time. So
absolutely,
you have to be that bump to say, no, you're going left. And that other person has to be the bump to say, no, you're going right. And eventually that kind of keeps you more down the middle of the street and on a straight path.
Of course. Yeah. We had that moment. My daughter and I had that moment during the Miss Cayman run. And I said, all right, listen, I can be your mommy and I'll, tell you everything you want to hear. And I'll, be that shoulder and, you're amazing. You're great. Or I can be that person who says, hey, you didn't do that. You need to do this. You need that. Tell me which one you want me to be. And I that was a come to Jesus moment. Like, just tell me who you want me to be. Cause I will be mommy, or I will be the person who's going to be able to tell you, the things that you might need to hear that someone else is not telling you. Because sometimes, like you said, you're going to need to hear that. You need the person that's telling you the truth, that's keeping you on track, because it's tough. And a lot of people, especially in your arena, you would have a lot of people that are smiling and just telling you whatever you want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
Just to be in that picture with you or whatever. But the realness sometimes is what's missing. So
yes,
that's important also.
And that's where the bond strengthens, and most of all, respect comes into play. Because say many times you could be there and just rub the shoulder and say, yeah, you're doing everything okay. And then many times, I'm gonna just say from my experience, where one of the coaches I've had, he's still my coach, Coach Joey Scott. He's been a friend, a confidant, many different things, but he's one of those that he does not hesitate to literally just take me to the side and literally just tell me what it is.
Right.
Like sometimes it could be a lot of explicit words in that.
Yeah.
And I could look at him away, but I can't look at him in a state of malice of any kind and saying, get into my feelings, what we call it nowadays. I have to simply respect his position and knowing that what he's telling me is for my best interest.
Right.
And
that supports it.
Yeah. He's he's gonna tell me that line. It's not all sunshine and rainbows out here. It's gonna be tough. You can make it, but right now you need to tighten up, or right now you need to relax. So it's that constant mentoring to get someone that might not know the way that can make all the difference in them getting there. So,
Absolutely.
to all the mothers out there, and especially all the fathers out there, continue to guide and protect those ones that you hold so close and dearly to your heart. They're always watching. They don't know the way all the time, but unfortunately, you've been, twice their age. So,
Right.
What you don't know, continue to tell them that.
Yeah.
What they don't know, continue to tell them that, and
Yeah.
have
Listen.
constant conversation with your children.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great advice. You're absolutely right. It's about that relationship. So in 2017, you were awarded the honor of having the football stadium, the Ronald J. Forbes playing field in your home district of Northside, renamed after you, and in the same year recognized as a national sports hero in the Cayman Islands. So that must have felt really good.
Yes. That was a very surreal moment. I'm not even gonna lie to you. When I was before I started tracking, this is where I said I've been running technically all my life. It was just known as the field. That's all we knew it as in our side.
Wow.
Go down by the field. I don't think at one time it even had a name. It just go down by the field. And you grew up playing football in the field. Obviously, I'm running around with my hands in the air, kicking the ball against the fence, yelling out Pele. Every single time I'm, in my mind, scoring a goal. And all of those years had passed, and you've done all of this Olympic journey and whatever else that was in between that, and all of a sudden, the district council found you worthy of, okay, we're gonna name this field after you, and you kind of stand there and you kind of look, and until it actually happens, when you stand beside the fence and see your name there, you're looking at it and you're like, this has been a tremendous amount of sacrifice to get here. Like, I couldn't just be given it. Them giving it to me, I had to earn it in a sense. And you stand there almost in a reflective state, looking back at the kid that was once kicking the ball against the fence and saying,
Right.
man, it has all been worth it.
Right.
That was a very, very humbling experience. And
Right.
to know the history of that field, where it started by guys in the district that are now, I would say some are senior, some are getting into that senior phase where they didn't have anything. They didn't have the opportunities that we were blessed with nowadays of, pristinely cut grass and watered lawns and everything else. These were guys hard from the street. And, hats off to every one of them listening. They know who they are. And, that they prepared a way for all of us to play. And, now my name bears that. Is a tremendous and humbling experience, and
Right.
tremendous honor to have that.
That's
And more
great.
so the national sports hero. Cayman has a lot of sports heroes. I know many times I might be, one of the more celebrated ones. I just try to do my best, but we have tremendous sports heroes that have gone unrecognized in a sense.
Yeah.
Many of them, and we have to continuously, thank them for their sacrifice, recognize that the other heroes are in the making, and we have to continuously push them forward as well.
Yep. And you deserve that. You deserve it, and they deserve it. And thank you so much for just being so gracious and recognizing them as well. You've been listening to Ronald Forbes, Cayman Olympian, been to the Olympics 3 times, a host of other things that to his name. That's just been really incredible for still being such a young person, and just there to inspire the young people. This is Thursdays, right? And it's Success 101. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking to young Caymanians that are making their name, making our name look good all over the world. We're so proud of you guys. We're so excited about that. And we just want to continue telling those stories for sure. Coming to the end of this show today, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. So what's next? So what's next on the list? Just
To get
retirement. I know you said.
Yeah, retirement, and onto the next phase, which would be more of the administrative side of sport. I definitely have my hand in the coaching side of it since 2017, where I volunteered, continue to still volunteer for the place where I graduated, Florida International University. But you take in 20 years of knowledge of a sport of a certain sport, and you just can't leave it there. It would be only wise that you would take that and figure out where those skills and knowledge is applicable to the next phase of not just your sport, but sport in general. So that's the next phase where I want to move on to. After the legs are finished competing, the mind still competes forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'd say use that name. Use all that hard work that you put in and let it work for you. Thank you so much, Ronald. Great meeting you. Stay safe over there in Miami and stay out of the madness, right?
Yes.
And take care of yourself. And once again, thank you. Thank you so much for representing us in such a way. Thank you all so much for tuning in this afternoon. And Ronald, you can tell everybody bye.
All right. Thank you for everyone for listening, and be safe out there.
Thanks. All right. And we'll talk to you again on Monday. Have a great weekend when it comes. Take care. Bye.
Connect